Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers. My name is Sam Bashor.
And I'm DJ Wooldridge.
Don't you forget it. Today we're talking about 21 Bridges, movie from STX Films. Thank you for inviting us to the screening last night. Much appreciated. Do have a funny story about that, but we'll get into that in a second after some business up top. 21 Bridges is directed by Brian Kirk. Quickie synopsis. An embattled NYPD detective is thrust into a citywide manhunt for a pair of cop killers after uncovering a massive and unexpected conspiracy. This stars Chadwick Boseman, Sienna Miller, J.K. Simmons, Stephan James, Taylor Kitsch, Keith David. Doesn't he do the voice of the president on Rick and Morty?
Yes.
It makes me very happy that he does that.
I like that they even tell you in the description.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, it's the whole shebang right there.
Did want to look up really quick the producer, because if I'm not mistaken, yes, Anthony and Joe Russo produced this movie.
Yeah. It's one of the big selling points that from the visionary directors of Avengers Endgame.
They even say at one point that someone is an Avenger.
And which is true in more senses of the word.
Than the Avengers
I'm saying
movies.
Nick Fury shows up in this movie is like, hey, join the Avenger. No.
Hey, you Mr. Cop Man, you're not going to believe the guy we found in Africa. You're not going to, it's going to blow your mind. It's like Nick Cage as the Civil War soldier. It's like, this is insane. Come look at this guy. Anyways, let's talk about the actual movie. So you were excited for this movie a little bit before?
I mean, it's cool. I like the idea that some of these bigger Marvel directors are investing some time and energy in more traditional movies, real movies. You know what I mean? Like, because I know Joe and Anthony Russo are directing Cherry, starring Tom Holland.
What was it?
The Cherry.
Cherry.
Yeah, it's about a veteran with PTSD who I believe was trying to commit robbery to fuel his meth habit, and it's played by Tom Holland. Taika Waititi did Jojo Rabbit, and I think he's even doing another movie prior to Thor: Love and Thunder. So I liked that, and we just had unrelated to the Marvel Cinematic Universe directors, we just had Ford v Ferrari, which is these are movies we used to make. James Mangold, and these are movies that we used to have. A variety of different types of movies that have been crowded out by, superhero films. And it's little variety is the spice of life. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I was excited that they were doing this. And it's a fine movie. I did not enjoy it. But it is one. You just read this. You know what the movie is. There's no twist beyond that. What was just said. So spoilers in the synopsis, I guess.
And to be fair, you kind of get it as soon as the movie begins.
Yeah.
You understand what it is. You just don't understand the ins and outs, and that's how the movie works. And when even it's explained to you, you're kind of like, yeah, I got it. Like I figured it out.
You've seen movies like this before, yeah.
Which also I like it because there's this like certain flavor of New York cop movies that I just kind of miss. Hey, you gotta, I'm gonna take your badge. That kind of stuff. Yeah. It's Bad Boys, but turn down the cartoonishness and then just move it up the coast a little bit to New York. It's you guys. You are not wrong that you have seen this movie before. Positives for me. I enjoy Chadwick Boseman's performance as this cop. He is not like the hard-boiled police detective that you've necessarily seen before, but he does check a lot of boxes when it's like, oh, he has a troubled past, possibly a father that he has to live up to, his legacy. How's he gonna? And then the police department's after him for some maybe other things he did in the past that were not so good, but maybe were good because he had to make the hard call.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's it. That's him.
Have we made a cop movie called The Hard Call?
I mean, that's
yeah.
I will look that up at the end. Yeah. That sounds like it's somewhere out there. I came up with an idea yesterday for Dr. Cowboy, but that's a romance novel. Yeah. So everything's already been used before. Yeah. Nothing matters.
The Simpsons did it first.
But yeah, no. When it comes to the performances in this movie, I think everyone did a very good job. I think Chadwick Boseman, J.K. Simmons, Keith David for his tiny role. Yeah. As soon as he spoke, I was like, you guys should listen to this guy. He knows what's
happening.
Yeah, and I think everyone gives a really good performance. Especially, I love Taylor Kitsch and Stephan James playing Michael.
Yes, and he was in If Beale Street Could Talk as well from last year.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah. And I feel bad. I should have seen that movie because I heard nothing but good things.
Yeah.
But I think he does a really good job in this movie.
I think he's a real standout because the acting is fine, but it is like capital A acting. Like people are just really like chewing into this. And the dialogue in the script, the premise is solid and entertaining, but the dialogue is a tad bit overcooked. I like my pulpy dialogue. I like my stylized dialogue. And maybe it's because the performances are really leaning into it. But there's one joke in particular that references an infamous line from a Beyonce song. It's a little like, what? Like,
pretty good.
What's happening right now?
Tasty.
But overall, the directing is solid, especially in the action sequences, and the premise is exciting and engaging because it takes your typical cop movie situation and like, what if we dialed it up? Like, what if it was like every cop in New York was after these guys? And what if we shut down the entire island, which had 21 bridges, hence the title? But originally it was titled 17 Bridges.
They built a couple before.
Did they build a couple before the movie, or did we not know about all the bridges in New York?
I guess that's technically a bridge.
Yeah.
It's not for passengers, but it's technically a bridge.
Yeah.
We had to shut it down in case they used it. I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I don't have
There's a
working knowledge of
there's
how
a
many
foot
bridges. Joggers use that one. But technically, loops we'll close it just
yeah.
in case they get out there. I don't want them. Don't want them getting lost. No, that is the premise that you get all the cops are after these two cop killers, and as soon as all the cops they shut down the island, they go after them. Again, this is in the trailer, and we just explained it. It's from the synopsis. It is not a fun thing when I see all the cops out. It didn't. At first I was like, I think in the 90s when these movies were coming out, I was like, oh yeah, cop manhunt, here we go. Okay. But I think, and we never really get political here, just in current climate when all the cops were they were on there were more cops than tourists all of a sudden. And where'd they come from? I felt
stressed.
nervous.
Yeah, and I think a part of that is the more engaging part is the part with the criminals of this equation. You know what I mean?
For sure. And you mentioned the action. Brian Kirk, I think, does a good job directing action when it comes to foot chases, car chases, as well as there are shootouts in this movie. And there's a mechanical precision when it comes to the way that people handle their firearms in this movie. And I think in the way they're operated, that adds a little bit of believability. It always is nice, I think like a lot of our viewers, we sometimes check out the VFX artists react over at Corridor Crew. They do a good job breaking down certain action scenes. And now I keep trying to look at how muzzle flares look in some shots, and sometimes movies just use the same stock thing. Yeah. I don't know. I'm now noticing different things than I was before. And so in this movie, I appreciate the precision that they had when it came to the action scene, specifically the way they handled their firearms. I think the young actor does a really good job, Stephan James, and I think Taylor Kitsch, the most standout role for me when it comes to his career.
Gambit. From the Wolverine.
Totally forgot. It's the other one. Ready? It's the biggest bomb Disney's ever had. 3, 2, 1. John Carter. John Carter of Mars. So in this, he's looking a little tired in comparison to his blockbustery days.
Yeah,
and I think he does a good job.
He was also really good in second season of True Detective. I know that season's maligned pretty heavily, but he's good in it. I think.
There you go. Don't kill me.
So what would you rate John Carter? No, what would you rate 21 Bridges?
We should just check out John Carter.
Out of 21. We haven't done a fun rating in a minute, and I miss it, if I'm being honest. It's not too hard. You just have to double whatever.
But +1 then. It's get a remainder there. I'd say. Did you read the Rotten Tomatoes score?
Yeah. Did I read the Rotten Tomatoes score is 44%.
That feels a little tad low.
Yeah, but again, it's an aggregate of, so that's the amount of negative reviews as opposed to a weighted score of whether it's getting a C or not. I will give it a B-, which is a.
Yeah, see? Good luck.
17. It's a 16.
You said a B-?
B-. So that'd be a 16 or maybe a 16.5.
I give it
16.
I give it the same score.
Yes.
Because I don't want to do the math anymore in my brain.
Yeah.
Gang, don't throw math at me. Long division. The other day I tried to help my nephew and I wrote remainder. And I was like, I'm a moron.
Please throw math equations to Sam in the comments
down below.
Yeah.
I think if kind of similar to Angel Has Fallen, which we saw this year.
Yeah.
Totally forgot we did that. But best movie theater experience, which we'll come back to for this.
Yeah.
I think there's something just simplistic about this movie that could be a nice movie to see if your family's into action. Like if you've got a dad who loves cop movies and like NYPD Blue and your Law and Orders and your NCIS's.
It does feel like a cop movie from late 90s, early aughts.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. It does have an R rating, and they do use it sparingly, but they do use it, so that's a warning to have going into it.
This seems like the type of R movie that my friends growing up in like a conservative Christian movie, it's like, it's just R for violence.
Yeah.
So what is that?
Mom, don't listen to lyrics, just listen to music.
What does that mean?
Yeah. I think it is.
It's okay if a bunch of people get their head blown off, but you show one titty.
Yeah, then ooh.
Oh, no.
Not in this house. I think it's a simple movie that has a simple premise and it executes it just fine. Mm-hmm. If you want some, I think some pretty compelling action, go check it out. What it's surrounded with is stuff that you've seen before. Yeah. Nothing really bad necessarily.
No, I guess
just passable. You've seen it.
Yeah, and it's not just stuff you've seen. It's stuff that, like, within 5 minutes of the movie, you're like, oh, okay. I see where this is going.
The movie also kind of doesn't try to shy away from that. It's like, who is involved in this? And it's like, probably the people who have the biggest names in Hollywood. Yeah. I mean, it's the same rule for horror movies. Like, these like 4 like new fresh actors are hanging out, but then like Chris Cooper goes, "Howdy, y'all," and he runs away, and it's like that's probably the guy who's doing the murdering.
Just throwing that out there. That's probably murder guy.
That's probably murder guy. Anywho's, what's nice in these movies? Sometimes in these screenings, it's an all media screening. Yeah, bringing back the story I wanted to tell. And during this movie, it was nice because there are certain times where it's like, while this movie is predictable, you have moments of trying to figure out like what they're trying to say. Like, is this person on the conspiracy? But what was nice about this screening was that behind us, throughout the whole thing, these 2 women very nicely would explain out loud every twist that was happening in the movie.
He's going to be behind them.
Yeah, it's like, he's in on it.
Yeah.
It's the police chief. He has a gun. This is a little too violent. It was very nice of them. There's some old ladies that were having a night out.
Yeah, I also like before the movie, they're like, 21 Bridges, what does that name mean? Why is it named that? You know, it has the worst name, Shawshank Redemption. That's the worst name of any movie ever. It's a lovely movie, but it's a terrible name. I didn't like it, what happened to him in prison. It had to have been awful going to prison like that.
Now I don't need to see the movie because they really spoiled it. I have seen Shawshank Redemption. You don't need to comment about it.
Let us know whether you think Sam's seen Shawshank Redemption in the comments down below.
Also, how many of the 21 Bridges have you visited personally? Yeah. Count them out down below. Also, if you can name them, you win a prize. All right. Like, subscribe, Patreon. Bye.
Bye.